Hello, welcome to another episode of Stampin' with Candace and another bonus episode of Scrapped. Um, we actually decided not to do December because it was a little bit crazy, but if you caught my episode for November, I think I posted the beginning of December. Um, I shared a gratitude mini album, and I had so much fun creating that and had comments on it that I decided I wanted to do a Christmas album. I actually ended up doing 2 different albums, and the fun part is I used the exact same paper for both of them, and believe it or not, it is a Christmas paper. If you're familiar with our papers, you might be able to guess which one I used, but I am going to share both of those with you. One of them is finished, the other one I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks as I finished putting that one together. So, I'm going to switch cameras here and show you a couple things. So, if you watched my other episode for that gratitude one, I had mentioned that there were 3 different sizes of these flip-flops that I've been using to make the albums. I was incorrect. There are 4. So there is the 4x6, which, as I mentioned before, has the 2 different ways to load them. And the 3x4 also has 2 different ways. I have one left to load them, and that's just because they're not equal. And then I had mentioned the 3x3, which you can turn either way. And the other one I missed was the 4x4, which is actually what inspired my second album that we're going to be using today. So I'm just going to show you really quick. This was my gratitude album that I had done. It has lots of fun little pullouts and stuff, but I used those flip-flops in there. Check out that other episode if you want to see this. Also, my blog. Um, you can get the instructions for it and everything on this. Everything is still available for this one. I'm going to move it out of the way. So, if you haven't guessed, this is the paper that I am going to be using, which is called the Modern Christmas paper. I have made tons of stuff with this. You can see I have very little left. And what is really cool about this paper uh, is even though part of it is definitely very Christmas, a lot of it is not. And so I was really able to utilize this paper for a second project, and there were only a few one page I didn't use at all, this one, and some of the designs I obviously didn't use at all, but I'm going to show you what I did with that one to make this fun um, second album. But we're going to show you the first album really quick. So this one is the Christmas one. I'm going to bring this one back out. So I went this way with this one, and I decided to go up and down. If you've been following along and you followed along with my Christmas card challenge, you may recognize this card. It was definitely one of my most popular cards, and I loved the gold and black and everything, and decided I wanted to use that for my inspiration for my Christmas um, album. And I actually really thought it would be very fun to do black and white photos in this. So this is my Christmas album here, and you can definitely see use that inspiration for the front, and we went up and down with it this time. So I am using the 4x6, just kind of show you the difference here in the 4x6. I went with this one is the side load. I think this one is actually a side or top load. It just kind of depends on which direction. So this is on the short side, this is on the long side on this one. So this one on the inside here, again, I used the chipboard that comes in like the paper pumpkin or whatever packaging there. And so I've just got some of these ones that I did the waterfall flip here. Again, just really simple. Some of them I decided to go with a whole like image here. You could skip that and just put a picture in there. I did some smaller pictures here. You could do a smaller picture, larger picture, kind of up to you. I did some other fun things that I got from my friend Linda Day on an album she had made, and that was to do these little ones that flip up like this. Um, This one here, we have the double flip for that. This one's a little pocket that you can pull out so you could put a picture on the back if you wanted to, or do some journaling, whatever you want. This one kind of pops out like this. Have the insides. And you'll notice that for the most part, so this one is, I hold it up here. This one is one page, that one piece of paper that's folded in half. But for the most part, I tried to put like some of these ones in between so that we have plastic against some of these little fun elements here. And then this is the back side. This was also inspired by a card. Here's my card. I was inspired by somebody else's card. I made a card to match. This one's kind of fun because the photo is in a little circle for the back, and then just plain on the back using some of that designer paper. So that is my Christmas one. And now we are going to switch. And you'll notice I didn't do any of the little extra pullouts like this one has here. Um, I kept it a little bit more simple, but we're going to switch to our other album. So this one I decided to do a year album. Now you'll notice it does say 2026. My idea was two different ideas. You could easily put 2025, fill this with pictures, but I thought it would be kind of fun to have the album that you could put pictures in along the way. But as I was doing this, so we have our first little page, and I was going to put, ringing in the new year here. And then it starts, and this is where we're going to get into our project and show you what I'm doing here. Because what I decided to use, let me show you what I'm using here. Obviously, I used my two different alphabet sets. So I used this, my little mini alphabet set, and then I used this one for my numbers on the front. Highly recommend using those. I wanted to just do a neutral that I could use for multiple different months. So you'll see how I use this. So this is the die cuts. I didn't use the stamps, but there are stamps that you could go with that. The only stamp I used is this lined stamp here. Now, again, you could add all kinds of stuff to this, but I'll kind of give my reasoning behind what I did here. And then I used the matching dies. Now this one here is on last chance. The dies are not. I highly recommend these dies. They are awesome. So much fun that you can do with them. So we are going to grab our little pieces that we have here. And first of all, I'm going to show you what I did. Now this album is not black and white. You can see I've got lots of color in here. So I'm going to show you what I did to really change up these papers. And the biggest thing I did was lots of different inks and my blending pen. And so I am just going to add some color to this black and white. And of course, you can kind of do anything, all kinds of different ones to this. And I am using Pool Party on here, but I'm actually going to grab Coastal Cabana because that is what paper color I used. And I'm going to do something a little fun. I wasn't planning on this, just barely decided to do it like this. So hopefully it's all going to work out okay. Um, Everything else in the book is done, just this last little part that I wanted to be able to show you. So I'm going to add that to this one and to this one. And I'm just kind of, again, going in circles. I love my glass mat for this because it makes it so easy to clean it up. But, okay, we're going to get that all on there really quick. And then we're going to close that one and grab out my sorry. All right, my darker one. And we're going to grab our Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to just add kind of the darker, so it gives it a little bit more of an ombre feeling on it instead of just the one color. And then on this one, I'm going to do kind of the two corners a little bit here. And I could have done this with my pool party, just kept going darker and darker on my pool party, but I decided I'd rather do this one instead. Okay, and then we're going to clean this off. And before I do the next part, which is putting that all together, I'm going to show you one other one. So I did use the, like I said, I used, where did it go? I lost, it's right in front of me. I used this little, I actually used everything in here, but I used this little die here. And I cut out these little papers just out of white. And I am going to take my scissors and I'm just going to kind of rough up the edges here. And this is where I use the stamp. So obviously you could just draw lines. You could leave it blank. You don't have to have the lines on it, but I wanted it to kind of look like paper that I've torn out of a little book and added in here. And my goal, you'll see, I'm going to be putting some dates. And I even roughed this up like it's been torn out of a little notebook and put in here. Just kind of roughing that up. And then I'm going to roll these corners just a little bit. Uh, just kind of make it feel like it's been used a little bit. And to finish that off, I'm going to grab my basic beige and I'm just going to kind of do the edges a little bit. I'm not doing the whole thing, just kind of the edges. Now, one thing to be aware of when you're using basic beige, this is the only one that I'm aware of that kind of does this, but it looks kind of green when you're first putting it on. It does not dry that way. So just so you're aware, but if you look at it kind of close, it gives kind of a green hue, but it doesn't dry that way. It actually just has a very subtle, and I just kind of thought it was kind of a worn look. Okay, so now we're going to do our next part here. And I've cut out my months with, and I just did the 3 letters, and I did add the sticky onto the back of them. So hopefully they should go on here pretty easily. And I'm just going to, and since it's only 3 letters, they line up pretty easy. So I didn't use my other trick that you may have seen me use before to help line them up, which is just using some of the masking paper um, to stick them to kind of together and line them up first. And also, I didn't really care if they're perfect as far as for what I'm doing here. So my idea is to put, I have 1 page for each 2 months and put like a little goal on here. And then I can put some pictures as we go along for each month, or I can add some additional writing just depending on what I wanted to do. And I'll kind of show you how the rest of the book kind of goes together. So again, you could make this for 2025 or whatever year, but I wanted to just put a little goal. You could put a quick thing of what happened, whatever works. So now we are going to finish putting all of this together really quick. So this one here is an 8.5 by 5.25, I believe. 4.25, sorry, 8.5 by 4.25, that I've just scored in the center here. And I will show you how some of these work here in a second. So I'm going to put this one across here. And then I am going to add this one Just love how adding that little bit of color completely changes the look there. Gonna hopefully. Oh, apparently I had done a black one. I knew I had one. So we're gonna put that about right there and add some glue. So I just have these little picture ones. I'm gonna flip that and stick it up here instead. It's just kind of lightly tacked to this so I can take it out and add my photo. Okay, and then this is for my other part here. We're going to add some glue to this one, and I believe I used strawberry slush for this one. And got some fun little ribbon. I'm gonna throw across there. All right, so for in here, this one is going to be a fold out. So I have got a piece of 8.5 by 4.5, and then I have scored it at 5.25. And I've punched my holes here. So when you're trying to decide how big you're doing something, I start with whichever page I'm doing here. So where I was using 4x4s, I used this as my guide, and I just measured and said, this is roughly 5 1/8. So I went 5 1/4, and this one is roughly 4 3/8. So I went 4.5. So that's what I think I did this one 5.5, not 5 1/4. So that's what this is. This is 5.5 by 4 3/4. So this one's these ones are a quarter bigger, and then my inside one is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. So that's how I kind of decide how big I'm going to do it, depending on what I'm using as my main flip. So this one I was using those 4x4s. So now I have my basic part here, and it's going to go in, not right here, but in between here. And so this one we are going to attach so it folds like this. So we're going to attach this one here. So it becomes a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then this is the space that I have here. And I showed you before that you can pre-punch a hole for your hole guides along there. So this one here is gotta remember how I did this. So this is going to fold. So this is going to be my front for my page here. So this one is going to go across here. And when I was kind of designing this, because I had 2 months on each one, I kind of tried to do the colors and theme wise that worked. So I kind of got the blues going because and the polka dots because I kind of felt like that was like kind of wintry feel. And then I've got the pink added to it for kind of uh, the Valentines. And I have just cut out a bunch of the hearts. So I used the hearts from here, and I've got some of these fun little different uh, ones. So I'm going to throw this on here. And I originally popped it up when I did it. And then I realized that's not going to work very well when I want to go and write on it because I'm not writing on it right from the beginning. So I decided to just glue them straight down. And let's see, I think I'm going to do this one. Now these ones can be popped. Let's see. You just want to watch it. You don't want to do too much of popping things up just because it really makes your book thick, but again, these mini albums you can do a little bit more with, um, just because of how they are. Makes it pretty easy to add. Let's see, we have the pink one. And I think I'm gonna add some ribbon right here. Um, Now I have extras of these that we can add in. We can add them in here if we want. So I do have these two that I am going to be adding in as well here. So this one here, I want it to line up. So remember, I'm only putting glue on this part here because it's going to be overhanging that black. And then I just center it on there. Should center. And then we're going to flip it this way and we're going to add here. We're going to put this one right onto the back of it. And I just added some of those fun little paper clips there. So that flips. So now we have the flip. And if we wanted to, we could, where did this one go? We could add this so that you have a little flip there, which I might do, but if I do that, I'm going to put two of them back to back. So I might go in and add that to that. Now on this side, I already have this one done. So this is my March, April, and it flips open like this. So we're just going to attach this to the back here. And I have these extra pieces. I can just stick them in one of these so that I have them to add down the road. I will definitely be adding some into here. I just haven't figured out exactly where yet. And so now this we're going to add into here, and I can show you the rest of this album and what I have going on. So again, I started with the black and gold. And let me just pull these out so you can see. So what I did, I used paper and then I used a combination of the two die cuts to do everything on here. And then some embellishments. So we have this one that now opens and opens. And then we flip to this one, which opens this way. And we have another one here. So all of them have about 4 to 5 pictures for each little section. So this one here, I used the little, where did my paper go? Grab out my papers so you can see what I used. Maybe. Not sure where they all went. Sorry. I had them all out. Oh, there's that one right there. And I used both sides. So here I used this and then I flipped it there and I flipped it in here. So we kind of used both in that one. Now this one here, I did kind of a little pocket. So I've got this one that I've used. This one pulls out, has pictures, more pictures there. And I've just used the, the June with the little flowers. And again, I tried to put one of these in between each one so it helps keep it from catching. This is my July and August. Flips open. That is this paper right here. Sorry. Oh, that's a really big one. It's this one. So you can see we flip it open and it has a flip and another flip with the little stars. This one I did the red, I kept white in between and blue, so it kind of gave you the different, and then it opens up this way as well. And this is, you want to be real careful with what you do on this photo. You could do two different ones or one that's going to split nicely down the middle, kind of add some fun things. Then we have our October, November. I had a little bit of fun. I used this piece right here along with this to make some pumpkins on this one. And then I used this one. I did try adding some color to this one. It was the only one I didn't really like adding the color to it. It was okay, but I didn't like it. I liked the white better, so I did keep the color on that one. This one flips out, has some other little fun pullouts here. And then this is our November, December. Really fun. There's one time that I used the Christmas paper as the Christmas paper, and I used green. So instead of it being white, I've highlighted it with green, and then it pops open this way, has a double flip out, kind of a fun way to add some extra pictures in there. And then, of course, we have the end of the year, even though it's not stars, we did a little flower, but we can do some more fun New Year's or end of the year pictures on there. So there's a fun little New Year's album or full year album using the same paper as we did for this one, only adding a bunch of colors, so we had some other fun things to it. So hopefully you enjoyed that, got some great ideas. I was gonna say, uh, I will, if you're interested in some tutorials, I can make some more tutorials for them. Pretty simple. I just started playing with different ideas, different ways to fold things. This one is kind of that waterfall effect again. Uh, Really, my biggest thing is, start with kind of your different papers, what fold outs you can do, and how you can integrate the different flip flops. I love the different flip flops. They make it very fun to add to the page. And let me switch back to here for a second. We do have new episodes coming in 2026. You are welcome to follow along. We should hopefully be posting what the theme is for the month. We're changing it up a little bit. And instead of episodes, we're just going to do the theme for the month and have the different each of us share our different ones throughout the month. And you can jump onto our Facebook page and share yours. Use the hashtag Scratch Series if you would like to share on your own page. And please tag us and give us your inspiration. If you're going to make a mini album, I would love to see what you come up with. And thanks again for joining me. And I hope you have a STEM-tastic day. Bye bye.